Yes, yes, team. Welcome to another episode of Jake O'Connor, the High Functioning Addiction Podcast. Today, we've got a very special guest. I'll let David introduce himself in a moment, but David and I've got a mutual friend with David, and I came across his Instagram page, and it looks like he's doing some incredible work. He's got a very interesting story that I feel like would benefit you guys and girls that tune into this show. So yeah, David, a huge welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me on, my man. I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. Yeah, me too. If you were to describe what you do or who you are, starting with who you are, in 3 bullet points, what would those 3 bullet points be?
Who I am as a person. Now, I think ex-addict, I can never decide which one. I think it's one part because it's reborn me to be who I am now and gave me a second chance at life. And I think whenever the pain leaves, there's always a really good lesson. Now my pain's gone. I'm glad I've had the lessons I've had to get to where I am now. So that's one part. I'm a dad, which I actually think a lot of my addiction come down from not seeing my kids enough. Years later, I realized that. I love being a dad. I love having purpose. I love having drive. And I think that's vitally important for me. And I just think I'm a stubborn prick, which for better or for worse, I think it's something which in the modern day is often frowned upon, but I actually think a lot of stubborn pricks have made a lot of really good impact in the world because a lot of people hide behind bullshit and my stubborn prick just doesn't let that happen.
Beautiful, beautiful. And what do you do?
So we work with business owners. In short, our big program is called Conversations to Clients, and we help people have more conversations that convert into clients. So I'm a business coach, I'm a sales trainer, and I basically work with people on 3 primary pillars. We work on their mindset, their skill set, and their habits. And we meet businesses where they are now and help them make the adjustments to move things forward. My analogy I use is, it's a bit like having a Formula 1 race car, right? You've got the vehicle and then you've got the driver. A lot of people with sales training focus on the driver. Be the best driver you can be. But if you're getting into a Honda Civic with a flat tire, you're fucked. So the other side is just being a business coach. That's great. And you might have a great vehicle, but if you've got a driver that's got a blindfold on and doesn't have the confidence to drive into a corner, you're never going to win a race. So we did work with salespeople and business owners, but we're so busy now, but we're just working with business owners. A lot of the time, these are founder-led businesses that have higher ticketed products from sort of 5K and above. We do a lot of trade stuff at the moment, a lot of solar companies and that type of thing. And we basically work with them to improve the existing vehicle they've got, bring in 20 years worth of experience. And then we help them become the most effective they can be to get really high conversions. So some of these companies might meet us at a 15% conversion and we get them to 50, 60%. So it really goes well. We've just took a guy from 30 grand a month, not hating his life, but stressed, to 180 grand a month. And that was in like 9 weeks. And now he's got the vehicle and the confidence to scale that business out and keep moving forward. So that's sort of in short what we do.
Amazing. That sounds really, really cool. And yeah, I think the work that you do is important, because you're right. Sometimes the business owner can actually be the bottleneck. And
massively. And they don't realise, we don't know how dumb we are, right?
Yeah.
Go back to being a stubborn prick. Yeah. A lot of people don't know what the problem is, and they're guessing about trying to change it, which it's a bit like playing Russian roulette. And I think a lot of people out there, so think of like solar companies we work with now, they'll go and study for 3-4 years to become an electrician, but they don't learn how to communicate effectively in a way that feels good for their prospect to get the high conversions. And if you don't learn how to sell, you will add more bricks of stress into people's backpack than actually taking them out because you're not being effective. So yeah, I think it's a vital skill, vitally important and massively overlooked.
Yeah, I see there's a strong correlation between coaching and sales, to be honest. Like, ultimately, it's just asking powerful questions and getting someone to the end result, right?
I think a lot of people out there get sales really wrong. We think about the old school 1970s used car salesman, snake oil, but actually give it a bit of perspective. If you owned a garage in the 70s in your local area, you probably sold to people within a 20-mile radius. If you had 5 cars on the lot, you had to sell them to feed your family. So cars weren't as fucking good back then. And so people bought dogs and sold dogs, and it was very different. That's not sales. A sale took place, but there's a difference between a sale taking place and being effective at sales. And a lot of people have experienced bad sales, but most people have never learned how to effectively communicate. And sales is helping people. Sales is fixing problems. Sales is helping give people new perspectives and new ideas and new pathways in their mind to think of things differently. It's perspective shifts. I believe for most people, for a sale to take place, they've got to have a shift in either a belief, overcome a misconception, maybe they need some knowledge, or they've got to overcome a fear. And if you don't do that, a switch should almost click inside. We've all had that when you've got to drive that car and suddenly you went from, this is a nice idea, to, I've got to have this thing. House, whatever it is. And so a lot of people in sales don't try and get that switch to flick for the other person's reasons. They just try and trick them into saying yes 50 times as if they're Darren Brown hypnotizing people. And that bullshit don't work now.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And what you were describing there kind of sounds similar to my coaching approach, where it's like there needs to be an internal shift for them to be able to break out of their addictive pattern or the mindset blocker or I don't know, the limiting belief, whatever it is that's getting in their way. So I think there's a lot of transferable skills there for sure. We'll touch on what you do now. I feel like even just this sales conversation and what you do and who you help is going to be extremely important, especially I've got a lot of my clients in mind that are all business owners, right? So they'll be able to tune in and be like, right, David.
Well, hopefully I can be of some help.
Exactly. But let's rewind some time, because it wasn't always like this, right? It wasn't always rosy and merry and good, I suppose. So if we were to work along a timeline, like your bio on Instagram is ex-addict. So what did that look like in your world?
A happy-go-lucky, fun, out there, wow, he's loving life person who self-medicated like he was a chemist to overcome fears and hurdles I didn't know I really had. And I masked them really well for years, and it worked really well until it didn't. And so if we go back timeline, I'm 46 this year. I moved out when I was 15. I was a little shit at school. I wanted to become a chef because it was cool back then. That was before like the internet and you could make money online. And so when at 15, I was working 60 hours a week in restaurants where everyone was taking speed and coke and all the other jazz. And it was just normal. Like I worked in incredible places like Harrods and all these other places, and people were doing like, not in Harrods, but in a lot of these restaurants, they were doing like lines of coke off on the kitchen side before service. Like it was just normal, and it was fun and it was exciting and all this stuff. And then you carry that on for years and years and years. And I moved into sales and environments, a bit Wolf of Wall Streety, which was literally like that environment. So it was a party lifestyle where people were just absolute lunatics and everyone sort of felt like they were on top of the world and no one can touch me. And that can carry on until it doesn't. Like it's like driving a car really fast. You can be driving, we've all done it. We've been driving down a motorway doing 100 when you should have been doing 70 and everything was absolutely fine. And then one car pulls in front of you, you hit a water patch, you skid, and in that brief second you go, oh fuck, I was driving too fast. It all just come to a crashing halt. My business suffered. My mental health suffered. I got to the stage where I couldn't even imagine 3 months down the line. I couldn't imagine my next birthday. I couldn't imagine the next Christmas. I didn't want to be here. I felt I was an absolute burden to everyone. I felt completely unloved. I can't imagine why anyone would want to know me. I walked in a room and felt I brought it down. But externally, probably 90% of that wasn't necessarily true. And then that messed me up more and more. So that made me drink and take drugs. Well, I chose to drink and take drugs more. And I was functioning. I could work on 3 days with no sleep, which that just completely changes your perspective of what you're doing. So then you're making mistakes consistently without realizing. And suddenly the business collapsed. Hundreds of thousands of pounds in debt, clients completely screwed over. I couldn't function in any way. A result of me trying to end my life. And fortunately, I didn't. But wasn't through anything else than just fucking incompetence on my behalf, which I'm really glad I was incompetent in that moment. And I then literally had no choice. I lost everything. The car, the house, the boat, the money, the watches, everything was just gone. And suddenly I was late 30s with nothing to my name, negative, bankrupt. Like everything was completely screwed. And then I had no choice. I lost my businesses, couldn't have a business anymore. And I had to then just basically become a new version of me. That then led into someone contacting me and saying, because I was always really good at sales. Well, not always, but for like a good 10 years before. And I had a really good reputation. Someone literally said to me, hey, really sorry to hear that everyone's gone to shit. Are you still good at sales? And I went, genuinely, mate, I've got no idea. Like I struggle to go out in public at the moment. And he's like, mate, to come to my office and like work with my team, their shit. And I went in, worked with their team. And I remember walking through the door and being so filled with anxiety and dread and fear and loathing. But as soon as I got through the door, the one thing I was good at was selling. And so then put the bravado on, got in the flow, hit the phones, fucked some shit up, and we helped to make 38 grand in 2 days. And I felt, go back to that switch being clicked, I felt a switch click. And I was like, fuck, this felt good. Now, this is before lockdown. This is before everyone moved into Zoom and all the other jazz. And I was like, oh, this feels good. And it lit me up. And I was like, oh, I could make money from this. And then it went a bit more and it went a bit more and went a bit more. And then it just sort of grew from there. And this is why when I say like, there's always a lesson when the pain's gone. Because I would never have fallen into that if I hadn't have done it. So yeah, that gives you a bit of a timeline.
Thank you so much for sharing, mate.
Sorry,
I want
mate.
to just hone in on the part where you said like everything was good externally, but internally it was a bit of a mess, right? Because a lot of people, that's why my podcast is called the High Function Addiction Podcast, because the label high function addiction is that. It's you walk into a room, no one knows there's a problem, but you down deep down. But you do deep down, and you get home after a busy day in the office, for example, and you can take off that mask. And you're like, oh, and you can just breathe again, and you can just actually go into that hole that you've maybe left in that morning, right? And I think for so many people, they don't know any different. I think a lot of people think that they're happy because they're like, oh, this is what everyone goes through. Everyone feels this way. I suffer with everyone's like this. To my girlfriend now, we'll talk about where I am, and I'm like really on it, really like I'm a problem. Like, there's a problem, I'm there, I'm gonna fix it. Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, you just fix stuff so quick. And I'm like, everyone's like that. She's like, they're not. A lot of people will do this or do that. And I think the problem with addicts is we feel that everyone's living that life. I used to go out at 10 o'clock at night on half 10 on a Tuesday night because I didn't want to be at home. But I masked that on, oh, I've got a life where I can do what I want. I've got money in the bank. I'm going to go out. I'm going to go and get in the pub. And then we'll probably go to a strip club. And then we're going to go here. And then we're going to go and do a pie. And I can do this because I'm a geezer. Nah, I'm a broken man who can't go to bed because I hate my life, and there's a feeling of dread of going to bed at night, because if I go to bed and I fall asleep, the next thing's going to be I've got to go and relive another fucking day. And I genuinely used to hate going to bed.
And it took me a year or two to even realize that was what it was. Like, I genuinely used to make an excuse to not go to bed. I didn't care about doing drugs. Didn't enjoy coke, but it distracted me from my pain and my life. And I used to hate going to bed.
That's so
because
powerful.
because I could go to sleep really easy. Unless I was high. But if I was going to bed on a Tuesday night and it was 10:30 and I'm tired, I'd be like, oh, I'll have a quick drink. And I knew if I had a quick drink, within 20 minutes, I'd probably order some coke. And it wasn't until years later I realized I just want to go to bed. Because I didn't want to go to bed and I didn't want to have to wake up the next day and fucking hate myself. I didn't want to have to make myself go and fucking have 5 coffees before I go into the office. I didn't want to force myself to have conversations with people I didn't want to talk to. And it wasn't because they weren't nice people. I just didn't want to fucking talk to people.
Where did this all stem from? Was this like if you were to look back, because usually there's a moment in someone's life where it starts, or there's like a lack of confidence or a hatred within yourself.
Do you know, I don't think there was. Do you ever read Atomic Habits?
Yeah.
So in Atomic Habits, you talk about the 1% incremental gains. I think what people should talk about more is the 1% decreases that happen in your life. Think of it like when you've got a person who starts a new job. And they come in and they're the best person, and everyone's like, Jesus Christ, this person's on fire. We're going to have to level up. And within a month, that person is average. And no, I mean, they didn't wake up on a single day being like, oh, I'm going to be shit today. I'm going to be average. They just dropped by 1%, 1%, 1%. And a month later, you haven't dropped by 1%. A month later, you've dropped by 50% because it's compounded. And you didn't notice. And it wasn't a point where I went from, and my dad had a breakdown. He had PTSD and all this stuff. And we could go, oh, yeah, it's because of it. No, it wasn't. It wasn't that at all. Like, I left school. I was allowed to school 1 day a week because I was always fucking around. One, because I was bad, just always fucking around. And then I got a job full time and went into jobs. And actually, I was like, oh, this is better than going to school. And then it was changed to another job, and it changed to another job, and changed to another job. I didn't have a plan. And I think most guys don't. Most girls, and let's be sexist, why not? Because everyone will moan at me for this. Most girls dream of weddings and having kids and having families. They have these dreams. A lot of guys don't. A lot of guys grow up with no value from people. And guys don't. Typically, we don't get a lot of our value until we've earned it. And we feel that. We get rejected all the way through our teenage years by girls because we lose girls to the nicer guy, but the older guy with a nicer car. Right? And we get beaten down, and we get beaten down, and so a lot of guys go through their teenage years continuously getting kicked in the nuts. And so that becomes the pattern of our life. And so even when you get out of it, you're still living with those patterns internally because you've spent a huge amount of your life with fucking rejection. And we've also identified a lot of the time, like, only I got rejected. So when you realize all guys are going to get a kick in, it's just going to be from a different place. Right? So we don't wake up with the dream or the goal or the plan of, I'm going to go here till I'm 18. I'm going to go to college, and then I'm going to do this. I'll probably buy a house at 25, and then I'm going to go here. Most guys don't. They come out of work, they get into a job. They often will get a job better paid than people that were doing something else. They then stay in that job for longer than everyone else, and now they're just earning the same as everyone else. And now we're in a habit of, I'm too nervous, too scared. Oh, this is just the way it is now. So what do? Find other ways to enhance their life outside of their career to find validation. Where's a good place to get validation? Pub, club, fighting. You'll get your attention from somewhere. Or you'll get it the other way. You're the fucking victim. And it will come from somewhere. The problem is most of us are not actively choosing where we'll get our validation from. We're not choosing where. It's going to come from somewhere. And if you don't pick it out of the pot, you're going to get what's left. And that's going to be the dregs. You'll get the easiest validation that you can find. You won't get the validation you actively chose to get. And it's the thing I have now is, like, for me being a dad, I'm going to be the dad my kids need so that they don't need me anymore. I'm always want to be in my kids' life. My job as a dad is to make my kids so effective they don't need me anymore, not to just spoon feed them and do everything for them. And so, yeah, that's where my head is.
No, I think there's really important lessons in there, mate. Like, again, like, a lot of people think about addiction and it has to be like this massive, like in the addiction recovery world, they talk about this rock bottom moment. And it's like, yeah, like I don't know, I don't know, had a breakup or someone died or this or this or this, but actually it can be little micro T traumas along the way.
Oh, but yeah, my last 2 years of doing drink and drugs was, I'm amazed I didn't die. And not because I was driving the car at 150 mile an hour. I wasn't doing anything crazy, but it was, my friends now, we talk about it, and I'm a guy now where people are like, I can't fucking believe you don't drink and smoke. It's mental. I can't believe it. You just haven't drunk in fucking whatever, 6 years. Can't believe you don't do coke anymore. Not in a bad way. They're just like, I have everyone. My mates used to be like, mate, can we meet for a beer, but you just go out? Like, don't go out. Promise me. Yeah, it's fine, it's fine. And I genuinely believed it. And then I'd see them 3 days later and I'd be holed up in the Grand Harbour Hotel in Southampton, and I've been there for 3 days.
So what was going on in those moments? Like, were you just like in those moments of the benders and taking it further than everyone else? Like, why do you feel like that was?
I would. So if I think back to drug taking, for example, I never. So I used to do something called omping. Omping's one-man parties. Like, I was quite happy with it. I didn't want to be around the same people all the time. So if you go on a night out with 3 of your mates and everyone goes home, for most people that's an indication I'll probably go home now. I go out on my own and I'll just move group to group to group to group to group. And there's always someone that you can, if you've got money, fucking get people to party with you, or like they'll just hang on because you've got the money and you've got the gear. So you could go out on a Tuesday night and still be going on a Friday. And I would never go off and be like, give me half an ounce of coke. I'd be like, give me 2. And the guy would always be the same. He'd be like, mate, just fucking take 8. I'm going to be back. And I literally would be, no, mate, bro. I'm only going to go out to 11. I'll stay out for 1 more. Until it's 9 in the morning. And then I'm like, fuck, now I've got to carry on for the day because I've got a busy day at work.
So many people are going to relate to this.
Yeah, and then I would carry on throughout the day. I'd feel like absolute shit. I'm staying out of the sunlight because I'm like a fucking vampire. And then it will get to 6 o'clock as it starts to cool down on the earth. And fucking for some reason, my body's like, wow, man, I feel good. Can I have a couple of beers? You got through the day. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm going to have a couple of beers. Fucking hell, I can't believe I got through the day. Another hour, another hour, another hour, another hour. Like, mind-blowingly. And I'd do that for 3 days. And I would do that fucking 4 or 5 times a month.
How did you know when to stop?
I didn't. Like, there's no fucking there was I'm not the fucking hero of my story.
No, in regards to actually stopping the whole addictive cycle. Like,
I just couldn't fucking do it anymore. I was getting paralysis in my face. I felt like I was having a fucking stroke fucking 3 times a week. I was going for MRI scans and CT scans like there was an illness. Like, I genuinely believed I was ill. But I was just fucking riddled with fucking drink and drugs. And everything else out, oh yeah, I've got this and I've got that, I've got this illness. I had IBS for like 4 years. I do not have IBS anymore. And it's so easy to put the ailments down to external factors. But it's most of the time we're to blame. And do you know, if we're not, my big thing with stuff is, it might not be your fault where you are right now, but it is 100% your responsibility to get out of it. And I gave up drink, drugs, and smoking all on the same day because I was like, it's going to be fucking awful anyway. And I had to spend the next 8 months doing the complete opposite of whatever I wanted to do. If I wanted to sleep, I probably should get up. If I wanted to go out, I should probably stay in. If I wanted to work more, I probably needed a break. And if I wanted to not work, I probably needed to work. Because my radar was so off, I couldn't trust myself to make basic level fucking decisions around myself. And so I had no choice. And I didn't want to give up drinking drugs. But I also was at the stage, I physically felt sick of the idea of drugs. Like, physically, like, the idea. And for a good 2 months, I would still take drugs, and have you ever smoked?
Yeah.
Right, you know when you smoke and you give up? You ever done that and then you smoke 3 months later and that first cigarette's fucking awful?
Yeah.
I was like that with drugs, and I'd be like, and I'd almost be like, you know, when a kid takes medicine, oh, I don't want to know. I'd be like that about the first line of coke, but I'm like, just get the first one done, you'll be fine. That's fucking mental.
Yeah.
I'm deliberately meeting a guy in a fucking blue banged out Vauxhall Corsa to take medication that's cut with, and I know what shit's cut with, and I just didn't care. Because there's a part of me deep down that wasn't like, if it didn't work, everyone will be better. Everyone's lives will be better if I'm not here. Yeah. Like, they genuinely would be better. And there was an underlying current of that for 10 years, 12, 15 years. Like, an underlying, like, gremlin that was just there, but genuinely thought that, which makes you then more reckless. Because you're like, what's the worst case scenario? Fucking die. And people are like, he was a nice guy, but the planet's probably better with that.
And then on the outside, no one could see this.
Yeah, do you know, I think a lot of guys struggle with, again, can't talk to women, I'm not one. I do think a lot of guys have lots of all right friends and not lots of best mates. And I think a lot of girls are very good at having a group of best mates where they talk about, they go on a date and they're in, like, talking about you in the WhatsApp chat. Here's a photo, here's this, here's what happened. They talk about the sex and all the other shit. A lot of time with guys, we meet up with each other and we're in each other's company, but we're not talking about stuff. Like, you can go and have a round of golf with your mates and you're at different ends of the fucking course, but you're together and you're sort of having flitting conversations, but you're having distracting conversations, not conversations about your life.
So do you think men need to open up more?
Yeah, I think so. But I also think on the flip side, here's the problem we've got. Men typically, good men are fixers. And a lot of the time, I find it really hard to talk about problems because I don't find it fucking helps me. Even though I know inside the talking gets a lot of it out, I'm probably going to be more emotional for the next fucking 2-3 days. And I find it draining. And I'm looking at a diary and I'm like, hey, I need my head in the game. And so I know that we should talk more. I know that. And we should talk more. But I also fully understand why not. Because I also think, sorry to say, we get shat on from a great height a lot of the time when we open up.
What about the high performer that is experiencing that? Like, what coping strategy would you recommend? Because it's a double-edged sword, right? Like, massively. I do agree. Sometimes deep therapy or coaching can sometimes unpack or unlock Pandora's box. But then in the short term, it may be a little bit destabilizing. But then in the long term, it could actually make their business go
massively. Here's what I've got. Imagine if you've got a boat now and it's taken on water and you're spending 90% of your time with a little cup trying to bail out the water. If you're spending your whole life bailing out on the water, and if you stop now, you're going to sink, eventually the boat's going to fucking sink anyway. Because you can't bail it out forever. And that's the awkward thing you've got. So you're like, hang on, so I either need to find a bigger bucket, bail it out for the next month to take a bit of time to get right. So sometimes you have to work harder to get more time. And other times you're like, it depends on your stage of your life. Sometimes you haven't got that fucking luxury. A lot of people are quite spoiled in the world where, and a lot of people fucking hate me and I'm cool with it, to be honest, because I'm like, a lot of people are really spoiled. A lot of people have got problems, but it could be fucking worse. So you actually have got time. You have got time. You're choosing not to take the time. Mm-hmm. A lot of us could take a day off work and go off and get help, but we choose not to. And if you're avoiding the situation, that's a problem. I also think the people you go to with your problems is a problem. A lot of people go to seek the answers they want to fucking hear from people. They'll ask the advice of their fucking mum, who'll be like, there, darling, you're great, Johnny. No, it's not what you fucking need. You need to shut the fuck up. You need to get on with doing this thing. This is what you need to do. You need to be accountable. You need to hold a fucking mirror to yourself. You're not going to enjoy it. It's going to be shit, but you're going to come out of it the other side a better person. I think the way that men get therapy and the way that women get therapy should be different. A lot of men need purpose.
Why do you feel like it should be different? I'm curious.
I think a lot of my girlfriend, if she's upset, she's amazing. Her going and talking to the girls and getting it out is like therapy. I come out with, I need more purpose. I'll give you a prime example. If you're drowning, and I say I'm out at sea and I'm drowning, I think I would probably give up sooner, wouldn't be quick, long term, than if you were there with me. Because I would stay alive to encourage you to try and stay alive more. And that would give me a purpose for surviving. And I think a lot of the time out there, men are lacking purpose. And we don't feel our value in the world. We don't understand the place in our world. And if we feel valuable, if we find we've got purpose, we are more likely to continue. Planting the fire. I think it's why guys are really good when they've got a family. They can fucking handle the storms so much more because they've got a family behind them or a missus behind them or people that rely on them. Now, it doesn't mean you can carry more in your bags, but it gives you more purpose. And I think if you don't feel like you've got a purpose as a guy, you'll really struggle.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. What about the people that have a purpose that still struggle?
I don't think your purpose is fucking aligned.
What about if... So you're suggesting that if you have a purpose and let's say, for example, you're struggling with an addiction, just for example, it's purely down to the purpose not being strong enough?
I think it's purposely. It's either it could be a purpose that you were really aligned to before, or it's one you've been told you should have, which I think is a big one. Oh, I should be this type of guy, and I should be that. You got to find a thing that lights you up. You got to find something which fucking makes you when you wake up in the morning. If it's not giving you an excitement or a fucking drive or a look forward to, or even an intrepidation, like I'm looking at the minute of doing an interclub kickboxing fight, scares the shit out of me. I don't like getting punched. But I also want to be at the stage of 80. I've got this story to tell my grandkids. That gives me a purpose. It makes me not eat as much shit. I've lost 24 kilos in the last 3 years. I don't enjoy losing weight. I don't enjoy getting fitter, but I want to be more purposeful as a man. I want to be a good example to my son of what he should act like. I also want to be a good example to my daughter, who's 15 now, of what she should look for in a boyfriend. So that makes me keep my purpose. It makes me strive to be better. It makes me hold myself accountable. It stops me having as many lies to myself. It stops me letting myself off the hook with bullshit. And a lot of the time, people have got a purpose, but they also know the boundaries in which they can play. They know the lies they can get away with. They know the things that they can do, the things that they can say. So although you might have a purpose, if it's not keeping you accountable and moving you forward, you might have a disaligned purpose, or it's something you're doing for the wrong fucking reasons. And I think a lot of people are doing it for the wrong reasons. They're doing it for the bank account.
Yeah. I've seen it many times again when, you're totally right. Like men that don't have something to wake up for are just like, well, this is just my reality. Like, this is just how it is.
But I think, have you seen the stuff online where you see guys where they're really full of energy and they're like playing with their missus, and the missus is like, oh my God, you're so cringy. And it just stops them. And they just go to being plod. I think a lot of guys have those singular moments, but something stops them having that fire in them.
For sure. And that's what we call trauma, like in a loose, trauma can sometimes be thought about this whole kind of, I don't know, huge life event or something like that. But like I said earlier, it can be micro traumas too. And sometimes it is just a simple message that someone says, you are not good enough.
I think the word trauma puts a lot of guys.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's the reality, right?
But yeah, no, it's a reality. But I think the context behind it, that's what I find quite interesting. Because immediately people are like, I haven't got trauma. But actually, is there a thing that's happened at some point that stopped you firing on all cylinders or being your best or making the effort? I think a lot of people can relate to that more. But I think a lot of people don't realise it's happened.
I think trauma is thrown around a lot. Like, I do agree. The word trauma carries a big weight. If someone says you have trauma, the first reaction for a man is, nah, no, I don't.
Well, yeah, and I don't think it's the fact that It's because they dismiss trauma. I think it's more of a fact of like my life. A lot of guys put down to the fact that my life ain't that bad,
Yeah.
rather than it being the fact of my life's really good.
Well, here's what trauma is. Trauma isn't what happens to you, it's what happens inside of you. That's all it is. So it's just your internal reaction to a specific message or to a specific person or an event. And that's all it is. Like if someone told you in school that you weren't good enough and it didn't affect
Oh, they
you.
did. They told me I was going to be a bin man. That was what my career advisor told me.
And did that affect you, or was that the fire that you needed to go and make it happen to prove?
I think it affected me to a degree. Do you know the problem I had with it was the guy who was telling me was wearing like yellow cords, a weird checkered shirt and a bow tie. And I just thought, I don't want to be you. What are you on about, you idiot? And so that put a bit of a fire inside of me. I don't think most people know what their potential is. I have a domain, becomeyourpotential.info. And because it's one of my big things. So I've gone through, when I come out of the addiction, I struggled with making changes based on who I am now. So I do like 0.0 versions of me. Like I'm on 5.0 version of me now. And every year it changes. Well, technically on 6.0, I guess now. This is the first year I haven't been this is what I need to change because I'm actually really in a good place. But I was like, I had to be 2.0 version of me doesn't do that. 3.0 of me doesn't do that. That doesn't, like, I almost had to leave the bags at 1.0 and pick up the new bags for 2.0. And I'd have to sit there and work out, like, what does 2.0 version of Dave do? What does he not do? And it was like, oh, yeah, 2.0, he doesn't do that. And it was so much easier for me because that gave me a process of what bags I'm leaving behind and what new equipment I needed for the next part of the journey, like climbing a mountain, right?
And what was your thinking framework behind what needed to be left behind and what needed to be brought forward?
A part of me's got to die for a new part of me to grow. And the problem we've got for a lot of people is the people that are around us. I think one of the easiest ways for you to grow is to move out of where you live and go to a place where no one fucking knows you. Because no one knows the old version of you. I've got people who really dislike me, and I understand why they dislike me, because they lost the right to the access of this version of me. A lot of people don't have access to this version of me from 6 years ago. And so they see me as the guy from 7, 8, 9 years ago. Of course you don't like me, because he was a fucking asshole. But you also should dislike me because you don't have access to this version of me through my choice. So if someone's like, oh, they don't like you. Yeah, of course they don't. Because they only know the old version of me. I've got people now who still believe I drink, still believe I take drugs. Oh, it's this big ploy to try and pretend like you're a really good guy. No, I'm not. I'm all right. I walk out my house knowing 60% of the people in the world will probably think I'm all right. 40% of the world will probably hate me. And I think a lot of people walk around thinking everyone likes them. I genuinely know no one on this planet is liked by everyone. But actually understanding the fact I'm not here to try and make everyone like me makes it easier to change. And just because someone's eloquent at explaining or good, articulate of a way of explaining what's right and what's wrong about you doesn't mean that they're right. Their experience of you shouldn't define the way that you are or who and how you act. Like your experience of knowing me is different to the experience I have of knowing me. And so actually I have to stand in the fact of if I don't have confidence and belief in who I am, it will grow more every day. Confidence doesn't come from a bucket of a fucking cornflakes. It comes from having evidence and proof of ability. So fake it till you make it if you've got to, but don't wait for confidence to take new action on things. If you want to get something, don't try and become a black belt straight away. Realize there's a reason why they do white, yellow, green, blue, and all the other stuff. If you're going to do something new, stop pretending you need to be a fucking expert straight away. If you want to do something new, be prepared to suck for a fucking bit. Stop fucking thinking it should be easy. Like, be okay at being... I took up windsurfing about 5 years ago. I'm still shit. But I'm not as shit as I used to be. And I am shit compared to my potential. But I didn't take it up with the idea of trying to give anyone advice. I turned up as a fucking novice, and I still do, and I will happily take advice, and I don't try and tell, oh, you should start doing this, and I find myself doing it. Oh, maybe if they turn their hips in. Shut the fuck up, Dave. That's not my place. And a lot of people out there, they try and get caught up as soon as they're good with overcoming an addiction or a problem. They start giving everyone advice. I tell people my story. And if people take something from my story, amazing. And I get some really nice messages. It really blows me away. And people that follow my shit and they'll talk about stuff, or they see me at an event and they'll hear me talk, or like the Bianca's mindset and maintenance thing. And I work with a great organisation on the island called Mindset Bros, and there's United Minds in Portsmouth, really good guys. And I'll talk to people, and I'm happy to talk about anything, but I'm not coming from a preachy point of view. I'm just trying to become the best version of me. Not perfect, but what tweaks, what adjustments, what changes can I make? What am I prepared to be? And my biggest thing is my kids. I'm like, when my son's 19, if he went through this problem, what would I like to be able to show him the example of what I did? When my daughter's dating and she's doing this, that, and the other, or whatever it is, what example can I tell her about what I did and what they're going to feel, what problems they're going to face, and this is how I overcame it? And that's the easy one, because go back to the drowning thing, do it for other people, and you'll stick into it far more, because I know that's the way I'm wired, even though I can seem like a selfish prick.
And how did you stop? Did you like go to 12 step?
Tried it, didn't work for me. I actually I went out to AA meetings, and I went out on a bender each time after.
Yeah, I want to just dial in on that quickly, because that's a really valid point, and I was hoping you would probably say something like that. I'm toying with a new idea, and I want you to tell me if it lands for you or not, because I know that you're a high performer. I know that you want to go and get shit done. You're driving and thriving for more, right? The 12 steps and recovery world is all about one step at a time, lifelong recovery, labels in this constant perpetual cycle of maintenance. And high performers don't need maintenance. They need to put that part of them in a box and get on with it, right? That's what I've seen. Does that land for you?
I think try everything and find what works for you. For me, and this is genuine, and it's not like a showy thing. I used to have a lot of fun when I used to go and party. I've got some, so my mates laugh about it. They're like, fucking hell. If they made a film on your player cam in your life, it would be mental. So when I used to go to AA and talk about it, I'd be like, fucking hell, I've had some fun with this. I might go have a beer, which is mental. And so I was reliving the story, and I liked taking drugs. I liked drinking. The downside was I was using it as an escape to get away from things I didn't like. So for me, that didn't work. I know some people getting accountable to a religion or a God works. I've got complete respect for people who've got religion. I don't really care what religion you're in. If you've got something that makes you a better person and you're going to make this world a better place for my kids, good for you. You crack on. For me, I don't have religion, and I feel that the 12 steps is a lot of basis on external factors. For me, I'm very much of, I'm responsible for me. I think finding mentors, finding accountability to people you like, people you respond to, people you respect, people you be honest to, is more important than anything else. And I think a lot of the time you can go to the problem I've got with the 12-step stuff, and again, this isn't me bad-mouthing it, in the slightest, if it works for you, good for you, is if you fuck it up, everyone's like, it'll be all right, carry on. My biggest fear now isn't about drinking. Mine's about the fact that I'd have to go back to zero, and I know how hard it was to get that first 100 days of not drinking, not taking drugs. And now for me to have a sip of a drink, I would give up the 6+ years that I've got. So if I have a bad day and I think about having a drink, I'm not worried about getting high. I'm going to give up that fucking medal. So some people won't relate to that, and that's okay. And so we've got to find, however you're going to climb the mountain, find the path that you're going to fucking stick to. And if you've climbed the mountain on the same route 3 times and that didn't work, stop taking that fucking route. Get a different path. Get a different Sherpa, right? Get a different approach. Get a different way you start. Get a different level of accountability. There's a great video that's around. I can never remember the woman's name. And she's saying her favorite quote is, what you're not changing, you're choosing. And I genuinely love it. And a lot of people, what they do is they have a problem, and this is the same path they take every time. The whole like, I've been giving up smoking for 30 days. Stop fucking counting.
Yeah.
Like if you're giving up for the first time, good for you, and you're using it to be proud of. Start saying, I'm not a fucking smoker. Don't tell everyone you've just given up. Do you smoke? Oh, no, I'm not a smoker.
Yeah, and this is why I want to echo what you've said really, is like, this isn't disregarding any other method. If it works, it works. But at the same time, what I've noticed in my 2+ years of working with entrepreneurs and business owners and helping people let go of their addictions is that actually people, high performers, don't necessarily want to put themselves in the recovery world for the rest of their life. Like if you had to go to meetings every day and check in with your, what's the word?
Sponsor.
The sponsor for like 6 years down the line, because people are there like 20+ years down the line, right? It keeps you in that identity. It keeps you in
I think a lot of people need a best mate. Like they need someone where, like, I think a lot of people, if you get brothers that get on really well, I think it's really strong because they have that bond of no bullshit. And I think some people are very lonely. And I think if you go to a 12-step program and it works and you're clean and you're happy and you're living your, good for you. If you've gone to a 12-step program and it didn't work and you didn't gel with the people, that's okay. The worst thing you can do is go, yeah, no, I'm fucked. Go and take up golf. Try meditating. Go and fucking cold plunge. Go and try fucking high rocks. Go and try badminton. Do you know the thing is? Keep fucking trying new shit. Doesn't matter what works for you. You might have a unique way that hasn't worked for anyone else. Fucking good for you if it works. No one should define us by, this is the plan that worked for me. Are there rules to stuff? Sure. But there's also ways that can happen without the rules. And I think for a lot of people out there, they try, I've been trying to give up smoking for 4 years. No, you haven't. You've tried 4 times in 4 years, and each time it lasts 7 days. So you've tried giving up for 28 days. You just had big gaps between it. I've been trying to give up coke for years. No, you haven't. You tried to have the same friendships and relationships in the same circle, but without the intake of coke. That's not going to work if all your mates take coke. I don't want to lose my friendships. Well, you've got to put something down to pick something up new. I can't do this because of that. Because of this, I do that. And if I don't do this, yeah, cool. It's sacrificed. Like, you've got to be prepared to not go to the pub for fucking 3 years. You got to be prepared. Mates will. Do you know how many events I don't get invited to because I don't drink now?
Do you feel like you can still go to these events?
I'm good now. Yeah, I'm fine. I think I'm better now, and I think a lot of my mates are like, "Fuck me, it's so good."
Yeah.
Like I'll go out with my mates now, and I'm like we'll go out and I'll drink with non-alcoholic gins, and my mate will be having double non-alcoholic gins, and he's having double normal ones. We'll do 8. He's hammered. I laugh, buy him shots, and take him home. I'm in a really good place with it. In a really good place with it. I didn't do it for years. Because again, going back to the thing of, should I? If I felt I should, I probably shouldn't. And now where I'm at a stage of like, I really shouldn't go. And I'm like, fucking hell, Dave, you probably should go out for a beer with your mates. But I also have rules with my mates, not in like we fucking put them in stone. My mates also know I'll just fucking leave. We went to like Victorious, was it last year maybe? And I went and had a fucking great time with my mates. Daytime, everyone's boozing, everyone's laughing. Yeah, it's good. And I'm all right with that. I'm good. I think I'm pretty hypo. And I just left. And as I got outside and I got in the car, sent a voice note to my mates, good to see you boys, I'm off. And it's give me a thumbs up. They're not like, oh my God, why have you left? Because they're like, yeah, you're different to us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Different's all right.
Yeah.
I like being different. I'm not here to try to be the same as everyone else.
A lot of people aren't okay with being different though, are they?
But we are different. A lot of people are fucking liars. A lot of people lie and pretend they're the same as everyone. No. You're good at masking that you're the same as everyone else. You're good at faking that you're not. Every one of us is fucking different. Yeah. Every one of us.
But there's similarities that a lot of people associate to and connect with, right? So if you've associated a group of friends around just going to the pub and drinking, then it would be seen as different to not do that, right?
True. I also think in life, there's not one perfect mate for us out there. As in, like, I think there's 100,000 people you could fall head over heels in love with, marry, be really, really happy with. I believe that to be true. Does it mean you're going to find them? Nah. But I also think that's the same with friendship groups. And I think if people are in your life for a week, a month, a year, a decade, whatever it is, I'm envious of people who've got lifetime friends since they're 15. I've got mates now. I was mates with since I was 14. I see them twice a year. Love them. We're always talking about how much we should see each other. We don't. And we're still, like, if he phoned me and I needed to sacrifice my life to save that man, I probably would, because he's amazing. But I also think we have to be more proactive at what we're trying to achieve in life. And you are different, and you might have loads of similarities for years with people, but in a way, same way if you've got 2 suitcases, you might need to put those 2 suitcases down and put another one up. You can't just add more friendship to the group. You can't just keep putting more friendship without diluting something. And if you're trying to make a massive change and you message your friends and say, hey, I fucking love you, I'm not going to be around for the next year. Like, do me a favor. If you've got any love for me, in a year's time, let's pick it up. I'll be there, blah, blah. It's not about you. I just want to try and become my best self. If they're like, fucking hell, you're an idiot, it's a massive sign that they weren't the friendship that you thought they were anyway. And if they're like, mate, I am proud of you, but can we? Yeah, maybe.
I think there's extreme power in that, mate. I do. And I'm conscious of time, David, so I want to touch on where you are now, because we've been speaking a lot about your past, and a lot of people probably won't get a good understanding of who you are today. So the transition between the old life and the new life, like, what have you now created off the back of losing everything, going bankrupt, being drug and drink?
Yeah, I mean, everything's, it's complete 360. We're about to launch season 2 of my podcast, the Sales Masters podcast. That hit top 10 in 12 countries. Super proud of that. Spoke on a TEDx stage, did a TEDx talk, super proud of that. I speak on, last year, I think it was 9 stages. This year's like 5, talking on stage. We obviously do sales training, business coaching. We've got the Conversations to Clients program. We've got an online academy where we train people in around sales and business. My kids are growing great. My daughter lives with me full time, doesn't see her mum currently. Maybe that'll change at some point. So my boy's with me half the time, which again, I think for a dad is a massive achievement. Not because it's what all women do, because actually a lot of guys don't get that opportunity. A lot of guys, it is every other weekend. So having my boy half the time, my daughter like 7 days a week is amazing. I've got a great relationship. I live in a great home. My house, I'm literally looking at the sea right now, which is amazing. I get the paddleboard in the summer and travel in the winter. And it's genuinely you think about the wheel of life with all the different things from finances and family and health and all the other stuff. It's very rounded now. It's very much like a wheel. I lost over 24 kilos. I don't know, something like that. Over 25 kilos, which again, it's of a number now, which is so big that I don't have to track it.
Yeah, can I recommend you a book?
Pardon?
Basically, I said, can I recommend you a book off
Yes.
the back of that? It's called The Wealth Money Can't Buy by Robin Sharma. And it sounds like you...
Oh, I like Robin Sharma.
Yeah, he's great. It sounds like you've ticked a lot of those boxes. There's 8 forms of wealth. Finances.
Yeah, we used to do it in like personal development stuff years ago.
Yeah.
Do you know Robin Sharma? Do you remember his book? My mind's just gone. Fuck's sake! One of his books was a big thing.
Ferrari.
No, I can't remember.
5 a.m. Club.
5 a.m. Club. That was it.
Yeah.
That was one of the big things for me that I read.
Yeah.
5 a.m. Club. I did the 5 a.m. Club and then I did the 66 days after with the meditating and waking up. But like I did 5:30. And doing that for the habits was a really big turning point for me. It's a really, really good book. But yeah, I would order it. Yeah, so I just feel like now I've got a very rounded life. But do you know what I'm really excited about? If I repeat last year every year for the rest of my life, I will die in a way that I feel very fulfilled. That's amazing.
How did you reach a level of fulfillment? Because a lot of the people, again, will be listening thinking, well, David looks like he's living a good life. Like, how can I do that?
Everyone's in a different place of what they want. I have massive value for things that don't cost money. I enjoy the things that cost money, really enjoy them, but I don't attach my personality to solely being that. Like my house where it is, like it's literally overlooks the water, and obviously where the sun moves around throughout the year, but when it gets to the start about April time, it literally comes right in front of my house for the whole of summer. So I literally have the sunrises that people maybe see once a year when they go on holiday every single day. I get to paddleboard in the summer with my kids. We fish out the back of my house. Like literally this weekend we were fishing But now that's because I'm in a very fucking really, really nice house. But the actual activity, we used to like sunrises before we got this house. I liked paddleboarding before we got this house. I liked going fishing with my kids before I got this house. And I really value a lot of those things. So I have high appreciation for great restaurants, but I also love nothing more than cooking a nice steak at home. Like, I really value the small things, and I have a real appreciation, but maybe it is through my own actions I've got to reset my life. That is my actions. I 100% know that it is my actions. But I also feel very appreciative that I've had an opportunity to make the rest of my life the best of my life. And however that looks, because I feel that way, I will probably 10x what we do now in the business. I will probably have really crazy cars and second homes and third homes and travel all the world. I'll get to do that. But also, if I get to live my life like I did last year for the rest of my life, which has been still really nice, I'm going to die a really happy man.
Yeah, and you think you'll 10x your business based off of how you feel internally and how you're showing up in your personal life?
It's just, again, it used to be very much about how much money, how much money can I make in a month and how little can I give out? When now I'm like, like one of my clients at the moment, I'm so proud of some of my clients. Like, he's gone from 30K a month as a solo company to 180 grand a month in like 10 weeks ish. Like, and it's great that he's making the right money, but it's also great on how much happier he is and how much he's got this going on. And it's like, I get to give people these light bulb moments. I'm like, fuck, I've been doing this wrong for years. I wish I met you sooner. And I get to have those conversations. And I feel very fortunate to have that life. And I embrace the stress and challenges that come with it. When I also look back and go, I genuinely didn't believe I was going to see to 2020. Like, wasn't like, oh, woe is me. I just genuinely couldn't imagine me being on this planet past 2020. Like, I couldn't ever imagine it. So I'm like, I'm 6 years. I've had 6 years longer than I ever thought.
Yeah, you've done incredibly well, mate. You've done incredibly well. And for the people that go through your sales training and your process, how do you is part of your coaching partly to help them understand that there's more to life than just the revenue? Or is your sole focus increase their revenue, drive sales at the detriment of their energy and their fulfillment?
No, not at all. My goal, a lot of our clients, for example, have shit conversions. So let's say they convert 15%, the industry high is 65%, they think the industry high is 30%, they've got no clue. So we help them then, and you can do one or two things. We can help you, like that client, he's gone from 15% to 60% conversion. It's a 300% increase. So you could make 200% extra and work a hell of a lot less. Or if you're loving it, make 300% extra and scale your business out. I want people to be more effective in what they do. And then you can choose to either scale your business to the hilt because you've got the skills and the ability and the capacity because you want to work crazy hard. Or you might decide to work half as much and earn the same amount.
Yeah.
Like, whatever works for you. My big thing is, how can we help you have less rejection? How can you have less frustration? How can you become more effective at what you do? And not just for the business owner, but actually for their clients. Because if, for example, like one of these clients, say they convert, say they sit 10 appointments, and say they set 100 appointments and they only over a year convert 15. Well, actually, the 85 that you didn't convert, that wanted your help, needed your help, you didn't help with, you actually made their life worse by you fucking up. So actually, by me helping them, they get to then help others. So actually, then that branches out more and more. And so that's really important as well. And so, yeah, I think depends where people are. Some people want to go ham with stuff. Some people want to work less. And some people want to, a lot of the people we work with, they're doing appointment setting, closing, admin, leads, ads, they're one-man band. Well, actually, if I can get you to triple your business, then have the revenue to then replace yourself in the sales process, you can then have a sales team and you can just work on the business, work half the amount, but triple the amount of revenue. That's a great goal for them. So it depends what we're trying to achieve.
Makes sense. Look, David, I'm conscious of time, mate.
That's right.
I want to start to wrap it up, but I suppose if there was one piece of advice that you could give a founder, a business owner, a high performer, whatever the label is, actually, let's say a high functioning addict, right? That is living a similar life to what you did in regards to externally things are good, internally there's some chaos and there's a storm. What advice would you give them or sometimes it's easier. Like, what advice would you give your younger self to help them let go of that?
I find it hard to give my younger self advice because although I would love to have learned the lessons I've learned, I think only most of the lessons I've learned would have to come through the fucking horrible shit I've gone through. I would hate my kids to go through what I've gone through. So then I'd give them better advice. But I think for a founder or someone who's struggling at the moment, time passing will not make it better. And a lot of people are just like, oh, another month, I'll look at it. But what you're doing is you're deferring making new decisions. Some people stay in shit relationships because they'd rather stay in the pain that they know than the worry and the fear of a new relationship. And I think a lot of people are self-sabotaging in their lives through addiction, consumption, whatever it is, because, oh, it could be worse, or because it's the devil you know. But actually, if you had 100% certainty that it would work, you would get the life that you want, most people would take the change. Most people are too scared to dream and plan what their success is going to be. Giving up drinking drugs isn't a fucking plan. Like, it's not a fucking plan. There's got to be a reason behind it. There's got to be a goal that involves the drinking a drug leaving your life to go to a new place. It's not just move out of this village. You've got to have a plan on the next village you're going to go to, right? Oh, I hate this village. I'm going to leave. All right, where are you going to go? I don't know. If you don't know where you're going to go, how the fuck are you going to leave? You're not. So you've got to have a plan that involves the leaving behind of the negative shit. And the pain of staying the same has to be great. The pain of staying the same has to be greater than the pain of change. And I think a lot of the time people will just not bother doing it. And some people just ain't ready. Some people like the significance they get or whatever it is, and they're not ready to make a change. And again, I'm not saying it's right, but you've got to want it.
Yeah, and then when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people need to be put in a position of pain a bit more. I think familiarity for people is so easy now. Phones are a complete arsehole. They're great. Like, it's amazing what phones can do for us. But I think I genuinely think if most people wanted to fix their life, if you just had an app on your phone that cut off social media, you didn't watch terrestrial TV, and you had to fucking read for 30 minutes a day for the next 30 days, I think most of us would change our life. Like, it's not crazily complicated and this isn't me preaching. I just think a lot of the time, if you look at your screen time and your screen time 6 hours a day, and you're like, well, how much money did that make you? How much better did it make you? Did it make you a better guy, a better husband, a better father? No. It probably either brought you forward or pulled you back. Like, it's not zero sum. And I think a lot of the time out there, giving up the comforts that we're used to that distract us from how much we hate our life invokes a lot of change. I really do.
Yeah. Completely agree. Completely agree. Cool. Well, on that note, mate, I'll start to wrap it up. If people want to reach out and say, David, this podcast was amazing, I'd love to chat with you, where can people find you?
Social media is the easiest thing. David the Sales Angel on most handles. Or you can go to Tuster, which stands for the Ultimate Sales Training Academy, which is my brand, tuster.co.uk. /audit if someone's got a business they want us to have a look at, or you can just look at the website. Or honestly, my social media is the easiest. We post, or I post daily, and a lot of it's sales calls and advice and all that stuff anyway. And a lot of people, I'm like, just go and follow my content for 2 months. And if you watch it and you're like, shit, this guy's teaching me a lot, get your bank card out and pay us, we'll help you. Or follow my free shit for 5 years and get a slower success rate, but do it without spending any money. Like, if people want help, the answers are out there a lot of the time. We just don't know how to commit to it in the right way. And that's why you hire someone to do it. And I think hiring someone is a cheat code. They keep you accountable, they break down the things, they give you a step-by-step, and you just can get on with it.
Definitely. For sure. Cool.
Thanks for having me.
Man. I'm going to wrap it up. For everyone that is listening, huge thank you for tuning in. If you want to drop David a message and say thanks or share your key takeaways, then just drop him a message. I'll put the links down below. And until next time, I'll see you all later.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers.